Back with another Savage stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna do something that I normally don't do. I know I've been kind of slacking on the live streams. I'm gonna try sort of an AMA, ask me anything. I do have some topics I want to talk about. I'm gonna do that. If I don't get too distracted by the chat, I will be able to do kind of an AMA. Is Bitsby tripping live right now? Really? Is that what I'm seeing right here? Hang on. Okay, so he's not. All right, doesn't look like. All right, yeah, we've been, you know, it is what it is. It's one of those things where I've said this before. I think it was a really good comment I saw somewhere on, or I heard somewhere. It was on a video that I was watching. I think it was about, I want to say it was about currency and Bitcoin or something like that. And you know, it's one of those things where they said as long as the music is playing, you got to keep dancing, right? And that's what is happening right now because crypto's hot. You know, the market's hot. People are learning about crypto, more people than probably ever before. You know, you got new people coming in, and YouTubers, content creators, whatever you want to call us. You know, we are trying, at least some of us, not me, but we're trying to get more content out there so that hopefully, you know, gain subscribers and all that cool stuff. All right, great, you know, awesome. But yeah, I'm trying. It's really tough. I tell you what, you can tell by the way that I talk and like just the way my mind works, probably that I have trouble focusing. I really do. I have a lot of just so much going on in my mind. And I have a lot of content that I want to do, but I end, if you saw me work, you'd be like, man, you are the most unproductive dude ever, because I'm working on 3 or 4 different things at the same time, but I'm not able to, I can't focus, put it that way. Let's just leave it at that. I have trouble focusing on stuff. So, I'm trying. Maybe I need to get medicated or something. I don't know what I need to do, but I need to focus a little bit. Let me fix this microphone here, and maybe, hopefully it sounds, everything sounds good. Everybody's doing well over here. If y'all got any questions, be sure to tag me over there. I'm not really great with hardware. You guys know that. I mean, I'm okay with hardware, but you know, there are way better content creators out there on the hardware side. CryptoNight-GPU, Serpent, you know, those guys, they kill the whole hardware stuff. So anyway, what I would like to talk about, let me bring up my little, I got a little note sheet here if I don't get too distracted. Oh, I do have to talk about the DogeLord collection, my collection on DogeLord.com. So let's go there first and just kind of peek over here and see what's going on, because I'm making some waves over here, guys. I'm making some waves. If you go to DogeLord.com, finally I have a Savage Mind collection on here. I'm not like shilling this stuff, you know, specifically. It's not really my thing, but this is a cool shirt, Bitcoin shirt, and it's a word cloud shirt. It has crypto YouTubers in there, content creators, and some other folks in there. But what we released recently was the Raven shirt, which is kind of similar. It's a word cloud shirt that has content creators and original investors, contributors to the Ravencoin project, developers, all kinds of cool stuff in there. Unfortunately, it doesn't zoom any more than this, and this is kind of small, but there are a lot there's even like regular old Twitter accounts on here that support and talk about Ravencoin all the time. So check that out. It's a cool shirt. I mean, I love the look of it. It's really, really, really awesome. And don't forget that there are other versions of it as well. If you scroll down a little bit, you got some all, you know, one color version. Like this is the black one, you know, the black logo, right? So if you aren't really into the whole color thing, you can grab one of those. They're really cool too. That's the black logo, and then you got the white logo down here. I like this one myself. And then basically some Raven colors and my colors. My colors are basically black and green and like a heather gray. And then we threw in some Raven colors, the red, the blue, and the orange. Even though that's not totally Raven, but you know, it is what it is as far as colors goes. Pretty cool. So check that out. Plus on here, there are also a bunch of other content creators and stuff on here as well. So be sure to get over there. There's so much cool stuff on here. Just poking around, looking at all these different collections. It's pretty amazing. Lots of really cool crypto related stuff. So swag, I guess you could say. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So figured I would let you guys check that out. Let me post that in case y'all don't have the link or you can't see it. I'm going to put this in the chat. Make sure you can get to it. Maybe I'll put it in the description as well. Yeah, so that was the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about. The second thing was NFTs. Okay, so I did a little bit of poking around today, and it was kind of odd because what happened, see, what happened was I was thinking about our little project that we've got going on with Pocket Change and doing the whole business and everything, basically a business ran on the blockchain. It's got different categories. You know, you guys have probably seen the videos. If you look at my channel here, you can see them back here. I'm talking about these Ravencoin roadmap videos here. And it's kind of like starting a business and then tokenizing everything, making everything assets, and being able to eventually use all the capabilities of Ravencoin, you know, rewards, the assets, the main asset, the unique assets, which is like an NFT, all that stuff. It's being able to use that for a real business, even shares of the company, all that cool stuff, restricted assets. We're going to go through the whole thing. I know I'm taking my time with it, and it should be like I should just, you know, do consecutive videos, but I like to sprinkle them in there a little bit, spread them out a little bit, because you know, other content comes up like EIP 1559, minor extracted value, and all that stuff. So it does kind of get a little bit of a challenge to make them consecutive. But anyway, so check that out if you want to know kind of like what I'm talking about. But as I was thinking about this today, I was thinking about the whole NFT thing, because on the wallet, this is testnet, guys. Don't freak out at the amount of Raven that's in here. This is just testnet. It's not real. It's not worth anything. Okay. This is where we're doing our test and our setup, our little scenario of Pocket Change business, Pocket Change XD business. And we're doing like collectibles, NFTs. There's different categories or different organizational structure of the business is in here as well. I've got slideshows on it. I'm not going to go into that right now because this is I wanted to kind of talk about the NFT thing. So underneath of Pocket Change, we've got a sub asset called NFT, non-fungible token, and underneath what we had done is we had uploaded the Pocket Change XD logo to IPFS, Interplanetary File System, so that we basically created an NFT. I don't know if it's going to load, probably won't. This one is, there it goes. This one was weird because sometimes it loads and sometimes it doesn't. All right, so basically what we did here is we created an NFT on the Ravencoin testnet, and it's pointed out to an IPFS image, right? Or an image stored on IPFS. It's a JPEG of the Pocket Change XD logo. All right. Now, here's the thing. That's testnet, right? That has the token name. Now, this is where, if you think in terms of reliability, or even in terms of possibility for fraud, possibility for people to get scammed and all that stuff, if you've been around crypto a while, what I just showed you should probably scare you a little bit, right? Because of what is going on with these NFTs. I'm not an arts guy. I'm not into it. I don't own any NFTs or anything like that, so I can talk freely about it. I'm not invested in an NFT at all. So this is, it's strange, and it should scare you a little bit if you've been in the crypto world for a while. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, obviously there's some caveats here, you know, whenever you're talking about issuing a token, but there was, or issuing a unique asset token / NFT on Ravencoin, for example. But I'm going to show you something that's going to probably hopefully it opens and it'll shed light on the subject that I'm talking about. So I did this. We did this a couple weeks ago where we created that NFT on the Ravencoin testnet, pointing to this JPEG right here. Okay. All right. Great. Awesome. Pretty neat. We've got a JPEG NFT for Pocket Change XD. We can reference it from the wallet right here, because all I did was click on this, right? Clicked on this right here, and it opened that in IPFS. All right, opened the IPFS source, which is up here. You can see it. And if you're not familiar with IPFS, Interplanetary File System, it's a peer-to-peer, trustless system where you can upload files. It gets hashed. The location gets hashed. It gets Merkle treed. All kinds of cool stuff on the crypto side happens to it. And then you end up with a value that you can include. It's the hash value that you can include that references that specific file. Okay. So like in Ravencoin, if we go over here to, let me go to manage assets. We're going to look at, collectibles, NFTs. That's not what we want. I want to get to, that's not what I want either. I can't see my screen very well over here. I got this light shining in my eyes. What am I trying to do? I want to get to, I think what I'll have to do is I'll actually have to go here, right click. Yeah, I can't. That's weird. I thought I could see them under manage. I guess not. So I would probably have to go to here, right click. Because what I wanted to do was see the IPFS hash, which is not, it doesn't look like it's super easy to see that, which is good. But this is part of the problem, and just not to get totally off topic here, but this is part of the problem with Ravencoin is this, no one is going to fire up a Ravencoin QT wallet to manage a business. Okay, you can see how this interface is a little clunky. It's just a wallet, but it does create assets. You can send and receive Raven and all that stuff. It's a full-blown QT wallet, but no one is going to fire this up to run a business out of. We need layer 2. We need something on top of this to interface with the Ravencoin network. In my opinion, they need some type of really modern, high-end interface to manage all this stuff, from unique assets to rewards to voting, messaging, all that stuff. It needs to be in a much more user-friendly interface, in my opinion. Anyway, yes, max voltage, I did, and I'm going to talk about that actually, because what was really weird is I had DM'd Tron Black, one of the former lead developer for Ravencoin, about that specific thing that BBT commented on. It was hilarious because it was like a couple hours. I made the question a couple hours, and that's or asked the question a couple hours earlier than I saw BBT's tweet to John T. Waring. Yeah, I think I actually have that up here, or I did. I'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, back to my NFT story. So I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I'm like, a JPEG or the file, whatever it is, whatever the file is, even if it's a movie, whatever it is, stored out there on IPFS and referenced inside of an NFT, is just a file hash from the NFT itself. And the NFT, or I'm sorry, the hash, the actual object, whatever is being referenced by that NFT, that token, through that IPFS hash, whatever that object is, whether it's a JPEG, movie, whatever, can be referenced by anyone. I could send you the hash of this particular file. Like if I go back over here and I go to, now this is being gatewayed, that's why it doesn't start with QM. If we could get back to, let me see. I know I'm getting like way out to lunch here, but let me see if, no IP. There's got to be a way. I'd need a way to look at the the hash of that specific asset, which I don't see. There's probably a way of doing it. It's probably through command line or something. But anyway, so I could send you, actually there it is right there. If I put my mouse over it, see it down there, it starts with a QMCBR. So I could send you that, and you could plug that into IPFS :/ and get to that NFT. You could bring up this logo on your screen, and then you could actually create an object to reference it. So that's the scary part. All right. And let me explain this a little bit further. So we all know, or you probably know, that this digital artist, Beeple, he makes crazy looking artwork and videos and stuff, I think. Recently sold, he capitalized on the NFT craze, and he sold a painting. It says painting, but it's not really a painting. Or no, this says sold for more than any painting, right? You know, this article is saying that it's a big zero, but whatever. So the name of this artwork is 5,000 days, I believe. Every day is the first 5,000 days. So there's 5,000 individual images here that he's created on those days. So I think he does one a day, and this is 5,000 days worth. All right. So this went for sale from Christie's for $69.3 million. All right. Now you could argue that it's not worth $69 million. Okay. I would agree with it. I would agree with you on that. There's probably things going on in the background. I'm not going to I mean, there could be some weird stuff going on in the background of this transaction. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to like slam anybody, but just think about it in terms of what you would do if you were someone with that amount of money and you needed to do something else with it, right? Lead you down the path of what I'm talking about. But anyway, so whether that happened or not, I don't know. Okay, so $69.3 million for this digital art. It was sold through Christie's, and it has an IPFS hash, right? Like I just talked about, for this particular JPEG image, if it's a JPEG, I think it is. So what do you think I did? Or what can I do? I went to Ravencoin, and I created an NFT called Beeple 5K. Okay, and I pointed that NFT to the actual IPFS hash for that picture. So whenever I click on this, I am actually referencing the same exact picture that the person paid $69.3 million for. Now, this, I understand, I get it. This does not represent ownership, and there's provenance behind the token and all that stuff. But my point is that this is like wide open for scamming people. Okay, wide open for scamming people, because you know, I mean, you know how people are in the crypto space, especially new folks. They aren't that hard to scam. Okay. And, you know, you wonder why you see those videos, which I haven't seen a lot of them. It seems like they've been cleaning this up a lot. And this does take a long time to load because it's a huge image. But I haven't seen a lot of those scams. But, you know, if those scams that are on YouTube, like Vitalik talking and saying, you know, send me 500 ETH and I'll send you 5,000 back or whatever, those types of scams, the only reason that they're still there is because they work. They might not work on everybody, but they work on enough to make it worthwhile for that person to risk it. All right, so, you know, you and I sitting here talking about this NFT, we're looking at this and we're probably going to say, I wouldn't fall for that. I know that the token has an address of whatever on the Ethereum network. I know that that's the actual real artwork. But my point is that, you know, people talk about NFTs. They throw mud at NFTs a lot because, you know, they'll say, well, I can just take a JPEG image of it. Okay, or a screenshot of it. And now I own it. Well, that's not really true. All right, that's not how it works. It's the same thing as taking a picture of a Mona Lisa. I talked about this in my NFT video on Ravencoin. This thing's taking forever to load. Probably whenever I come back to it, it might be loaded. But, you know, I talked about it whenever I did the video on issuing NFTs on Ravencoin. So it's right here, this video, right? Where was it? I pass it? Yeah, right here. I talked about that particular instance where, you know, people who say that they own it because they took a picture of it. It's the same thing as taking a picture of the Mona Lisa. That doesn't mean that you own it. All right. It's just the way that it goes, you know, with these digital. This did open earlier. I don't know why it's not now, but there it goes. Okay, I just did a refresh. IPFS is a little bit weird sometimes. Now it's going to rebuild it again. Okay. Well, I'll just let it rock. We'll see if it comes up. But point being is that you can actually do that. Then Tron, earlier today, Tron Black, former lead dev for Ravencoin, tweeted out, I want to say it was a tweet about NFTs and the Ravencoin white paper. He had placed the Ravencoin white paper out on IPFS, and I am actually referencing that same exact document, the same exact hash as he is on IPFS from his tweet, right? So all these things, all I'm saying is that don't get scammed, right? And you can see how this is, it definitely opens up the possibility for folks to get scammed very easily through NFTs. Does this mean that NFTs is like this weird, crazy house of cards like John T. Waring said to, and Bitsby Trippin kind of replied to it and was like, you know, thanks for doing all this work on figuring this out. But I was thinking about it on the way home from work, actually. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, you can create an NFT on any network and reference that IPFS hash, and it's going to represent that token, right? Again, you know, you kind of look at the validity of it, but my point being is that it opens up a huge market for scams. So know what you're doing before you purchase NFTs. And here's a really cool thing about NFTs on Ravencoin as compared to NFTs on literally any other platform, Ethereum included. On Ravencoin, because everything is done at the protocol level, because addresses are issued at the protocol level, because assets are issued at the protocol level. I might have said that twice. No, I said addresses first and then assets. Okay. So because that's all done on the protocol level, you can't have duplicate names. On Ethereum, you can create two tokens exactly the same name, right? Ravencoin, you can't do that. In fact, you can even burn an asset on Ravencoin and you will never be able to create that asset name again. And we proved this in I don't know if it was the NFT video. It was one of them that we proved that. So because it's the protocol level, because it's at layer 1, you cannot have duplicate names. And that's pretty freaking awesome. Which means, to me anyway, Ravencoin is a no-brainer for some level 2 NFT interface because it has built-in like fraud protection. You can't have duplicate names, so as long as someone references the name in the sale of the token, whatever it is, you know that you're dealing with that specific token on the Ravencoin network and there's no duplicates. So I'm telling you, that is sick. All right, Red Panda. Oh, you want to NFT your asset. So what you would do on your end, what we could probably do a video on it, but what you really need to do is you need to NFT that tweet that everyone heard about around the world, the tweet heard around the world for EIP 1559 and the whole Ethermine thing. That's what you need to NFT because that's significant, I think. And if you want to do a video on it, we will. It'll be really cool because we'll be able to actually do it live or maybe not live, but we'll be able to do it and actually create an NFT from that. You know, so that'd be kind of neat. I don't know if you know. Obviously, you'd want to do it on Ravencoin network, which on the Ravencoin network right now, creating an NFT is a unique asset on Ravencoin is 5 Raven. It costs 5 Raven, so it burns 5 Raven, which is only about $1.50 right now. So for $1.50, you can create an NFT on the Ravencoin network. Compared to what is it, $80, $180, something like that to mint an NFT on Ethereum. And not only that, is way harder. Check this out. We'll do this right now. We'll do another NFT right now, live, just for the heck of it. All right. Let me see if I can find something to NFT. All right, why don't we do, let's see here. We'll just do a picture. So we'll do this picture. How about that? So we're gonna do an NFT of this picture. All right, let's do that. So we're gonna go in here to the wallet, to the Raven coin. And again, this is testnet, guys. This is not real Raven up here. So don't get all freaked out. Somebody made a comment the other day, is like, oh, dude just chilling with 2.8 million Raven. I'm like, no, I wish I had that much. All right, let's go to create assets. We're going to create a unique asset. See how it burns 5 Raven right there? It tells you how many there are, or how many gets burned. The asset that we want to create it under, because it has to be under a main asset or a sub asset of a main asset. We're going to create it under the NFTs. And oh, you know what? We'll also have to upload the file. I haven't done that yet. The name of it will be Raven. What is this picture of? It looks like it's the black. We'll go black, black color. So it's very limited. It's 30 characters total, including the main asset and the sub asset names. So the string of characters that points to your file or your token, your asset, is 30 characters max. So you'll see how we ran out of it. We ran out of space pretty quick there. But this will be the name of it. We'll go with add IPFS transaction ID hash. So we're going to bring up an interface to IPFS. So they have clients and things like that, like this. Okay. So what we need to do is upload that file to IPFS. Remember, it's peer-to-peer, trustless, all that stuff. So I'm just dropping the file into I could have renamed it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's see here. So now that's good. What should be happening right now is this file should be being sent out to different nodes on the IPFS network. Okay, like mine right now is a node. You can see the peers and stuff like that. So right now mine is on that network. Only 234. That's not a lot. Go back to files. So now what we need to do, you can see this hash down here. It starts with QM. We need that number. We need that file hash, the digest for the file. I'm going to go ahead and pin this. I pin it inside of mine, and I've noticed that this doesn't like refresh. So I think I have to either wait, or I have to close it and reopen it before I'll see the little pin there. And pin just means that it won't delete the file over a period of time if it's not accessed, right? And you can pay, like if you upload a file to a service, to an IPFS, there are services out there that will let you store the files in IPFS on their services, and then you have to pay to pin it and all that stuff for it to be shared and not deleted or not referenced anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, make sure it opens. That opened, that's great. Then I'm going to right click on it and choose copy CID. And that, I can't remember what CID stands for, but it's basically this number here. So I'm going to put that over here. All right, so there's the hash for that specific IPFS file. Just kind of eyeballing it, make sure I got it right. And then we're going to check availability. Valid asset, everything's good, and we are attaching this unique value, this IPFS hash, to the unique asset. And unique assets are not reissuable, so you cannot send this to someone else, right? Not this specific asset. So we're going to go create, and this is unique, so create asset. I hope I'm doing this right. And then yes, okay, so that's sent. And if we go to transactions, we'll see the creation right here, and then the burn of the 5 right here. So we're looking pretty good so far. We'll go back to overview. Probably not going to be here yet. Probably have to wait a minute. So while we're waiting on that, I'll check the chat. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Red? Thanks for tuning in, everybody. While we're waiting on that to get confirmed and everything, we can talk about something else. All right, so I want to set up a pie hole. Does anybody know what that is? I think I'm gonna do. I want to do a video on it. I believe it looks a little bit more complicated than I initially thought it would be, but apparently there's already videos on it on how to do it, so I'm not too worried about it. I think I'll figure it out. But basically, I want to set up a pie hole, and what that is, at least in my case, it's going to be it's going to intercept DNS traffic on my network so that it'll block ads on every device, even smart TVs and everything, computers, mobile phones, anything that's connected to that network that has their DNS server pointed to the pie hole IP address on the local area network. It'll be stripped of ads, which is kind of cool. There's some other features of the pie hole that I'm probably going to use as well. You know, it can be a DHCP server also. I don't need that, but it could be. That would, if you make it the DHCP server, then it makes it a little bit simpler for assigning that DHCP server address to it, because if any device that pulls the IP from that DHCP server is going to have that DNS server as the yeah, exactly 56. It's going to have the DNS server, or I'm sorry, it's going to have that pie hole as the DNS server already by default anyway. All right, so it looks like that was uploaded. Yep, not uploaded. This now it's confirmed, possibly confirmed enough to where we can actually click on it and see the picture on IPFS. I'm going to try it. It doesn't always work. I think I've got some issues going on with my browser that I'm using, plus it might just be the inherent nature of IPFS to where it does take a little bit of time, but I'm going to click on it and see what happens. Yeah, and I've noticed that, okay, it did come up. Sometimes like Cloudflare will block it as well. So you kind of have to watch what's happening up here in your address bar. But it does look like that works, so that's cool. So now we just created an NFT on Ravencoin. It costed us nothing in this case, but even if it was on mainnet and you wanted it to be actually you know, worth something, or an actual, again though, this is the crazy part. What we just did, that's an actual NFT, right? It's just on testnet. It's on Ravencoin testnet. Whenever I say actual, like I could sell this to somebody and send it to them on the testnet. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying that's just the way it works. So even if you wanted to do this on mainnet and sell an image, then and again, I'm not really into the NFT, so I don't know if there's a way of maybe selling this particular, or even if it was on Ravencoin network, I don't know if there's a way of selling that NFT on Ravencoin to someone. Maybe there's like some type of a marketplace like that. But if there's not for Ravencoin, then that's definitely a layer 2 thing that they need to do, because imagine once the NFT thing, once people realize what's going on, like especially behind the scenes, why would they pay so much to mint an NFT on Ethereum whenever it costs $1.50 right now? Now I think it's going to cost more in the future, because as the value of Raven increases, the value of creating, or the cost to create assets, also increases drastically, right? Especially in the case of like restricted assets and main assets. A main asset burns 500. It costs 500 Raven to create a main asset. It costs 1500 Raven to create a restricted asset. To set up one restricted asset, it takes like 3000 Raven, and that is, what is that now? 3000 Raven is how much USD value? I don't even know. 3000 right now is 660 bucks. So if you wanted to set up right now, if you wanted to set up a restricted asset from scratch, you have to create a main asset, a unique asset, a restricted asset, and I'm gonna forget the third one. Is it unique? Main restricted. Yeah, see, there goes my brain. There goes my brain. Qualifier, and that's 1,000. So a qualifier asset is 1,000. A restricted asset is 1,500. That's 2,500 plus the main asset plus fees. So that's 3,000 plus fees just to create a restricted asset. And we are going to go through that. We're going to go through that in our little business that we're starting here on the Raven Network. So eventually we're going to do that. But I want to talk about NFTs tonight. So we just did that, and it would be the exact same way on Ravencoin mainnet. What we just did, as long as you had a main asset already and you had enough Raven in that wallet, meaning five Raven, to create that NFT, you could have done this on mainnet the same exact way. And again, this is an actual NFT, but you could have one over there as well, and it's actually on the mainnet. So I think that is, yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely something to think about with whenever you talk about the NFTs. Again, the value of an NFT isn't necessarily the actual object out there on IPFS, but I wanted to point out that this does open it up for a lot of fraud, because people can be tricked into buying an NFT that they think is the actual NFT. Because I mean, think about it. If I wanted to, couldn't I take this asset? I could try to scam someone and say, listen, I have the Beeple 5K 5,000 day NFT. I've got it right here. It's not the exact same one, but this one's on the Ravencoin network, and it does reference the same exact artwork. So I'm going to sell this to you, and then you're going to own it, right? You could do that. So this opens up the floodgates for fraud. I'm not a fan of this. I think that there needs to be some solution, whether it's some type of a gateway or something that will not allow, or something that would stop IPFS. But again, that's kind of like against the ethos of IPFS. IPFS, peer-to-peer sharing, all that stuff is wide open. So I don't know if there's a way. I mean, obviously there's definitely, with software, there's definitely a way. There's a way to do it, but I don't know if they would ever even consider something like that for IPFS, because it needs to be open. It needs to be wide open for the whole peer-to-peer thing to work, and the nodes and all that stuff. I don't know. It's kind of scary though if you think about it. All right, so we'll go through. Somebody's asking questions about Sniper Pro Nerf mods, difference between the Ravencoin assets. I can kind of go through it super fast here. Let's go over here. The main asset is your main asset. It's the top level. You can have multiple main assets in the same wallet. Doesn't really matter. But that is like the starting point for an asset tree, so to speak. A sub asset would be underneath of the main asset. So for example, SavageMine is a main asset. But then let's say I had a GPU hosting company, that could be a sub asset. So that I could then separate it out, right? It's not SavageMine overall, it is a subsidiary of SavageMine, right? A unique asset is exactly what it sounds like. It's a unique asset. It cannot be reissued as far as the number, the quantity. It's a one-off, so it's one unique thing. And that has to go underneath of a main asset or a sub-asset. A unique asset is, the easiest way to think about a unique asset is think of it as an NFT. Now, it doesn't have to be an NFT. It could be a lot of different things, but that's the easiest way to think about it. It's something that's unique on the network, only one exists, so on and so forth. And it usually references some IPFS hash to the actual object. Another good example is my GPU hosting thing that I was doing on the actual mainnet back in the day. I had a picture of an actual GPU. The GPU was in the rig, so I was pretending like I was hosting this GPU as a business, and I referenced the serial number. I took a picture of the serial number. I took a picture of the GPU in the rig, and then what I was trying to get at with all that was that I could send that NFT or that unique asset. I'm getting them mixed up now. So I could send that unique asset to the owner of that GPU. Then whenever the profits for the month for mining were distributed, I could distribute it to that token. right? So that asset, I keep saying token. I do this every time whenever I'm live. I don't know why I say token whenever I'm talking about Ravencoin live. If I'm talking to somebody else, it's always assets. For some reason, whenever I'm live, I say token. All right, it's an asset, which is basically synonymous with token on Ravencoin. So I could send that asset, that unique asset that references their GPU, I could send that to them and then distribute rewards, so on and so forth. Not only that, but check this out. So the person that owns that asset, that unique asset that references their GPU, they could sell it. They could sell that. They could literally sell the GPU to another person that I don't know and just transfer that unique asset to that other person. Then whenever I distribute rewards, it would go to that person, right? The mining rewards. You see how that works? The only tricky part would be, like, let's say that the person wanted to retrieve the GPU, but there's the cool thing. Since there's only one and there's no way to duplicate the names, then that person could simply verify to me that they had that asset. So they could say, hey, you know, Dan the Dane sold me this GPU. He transferred the asset, the unique asset, to me. Now I own it. You know how they would do it? They could sign a message to me, send me a message on Ravencoin, a digitally signed message on the network that maybe it has their, like, let's say he was trying to get the GPU and get me to ship it to him. Then he could include an encrypted, it would be an encrypted message that would include his address, like ship it here. Now, if he didn't own that asset, he wouldn't be able to sign a transaction or sign a message from that asset. You follow what I'm saying? So that's how I could verify that this person actually does own that. Now, obviously, you know, there's hacking and all kinds of cool stuff that could go on, you know, stealing the asset in some way, you know, through hacking the wallet or whatever. But yeah, that's the way that could work. So it's really cool. And I was really pressing hard to actually set that up. And then the value of Ravencoin went down. We weren't mining it, so it didn't really make a lot of sense. But with the value going up, I might actually try to get the co-owners of the rigs to actually go in that direction and let me go ahead and create all these unique assets and issue it to them. They own the asset and then distribute rewards that way. We're going to very minimally do it in our little scenario with Pocket Change. We're going to be doing the same thing eventually once I get around to it. So you'll be able to figure out what I'm talking about. I know it's kind of a maybe a high level thing to some people. I don't know, you know, who all's in here. Probably have some new folks. You know, we got 21 viewers, so there's probably some new folks in here, possibly not understanding exactly everything I'm talking about. But we are going to go through it, and it should be pretty cool. So I don't know where I was going with that whole story. I'm not seeing any questions over here. No one's tagging me, so I'm going to keep going. That was kind of my NFT spiel there on what's going on with Ravencoin. The next thing I wanted to, the next topic was RVN Nodes. Now, Ravencoin nodes are cool. And this is one of the confusing things. If you set up a Ravencoin node, there's a lot of difference between nodes and mining. It's not the same thing, right? Your mining rig is not a node. It's not a node on the network. It doesn't have to be. Now, if you have a PC that has a Ravencoin node and you also mine on it, then okay, you can call that a node. But your miner, like if you got a mining rig that's running HiveOS or some other OS, that's not a node. All you're doing there is mining. You are processing the transactions. You know, if you're connected to a pool, then they're sorting the transactions and all that cool stuff. And we're actually going to talk about that maybe in a minute. The whole transaction sorting thing and what's going on with that. It's super interesting. But so it's not a node. Setting up a Ravencoin node, I like to do it on a Raspberry Pi. I've got one running right now, but it's on an old Pi 3, just one that I had laying around from before. It seems to be working, but it's taking forever, like really too long to synchronize. I don't even know how many blocks I'm behind. It's a lot. So I'm thinking I'm going to turn this one into the Pi hole, which is a Pi 3. It works great on a Pi 3 from what I understand. and then I ordered a Pi 4 for the Ravencoin node. Now, Son of a Tech, I almost said Bitsby tripping. Son of a Tech did a video, I think it was just yesterday actually, and he did a Ravencoin node video. I can't type. Let's go to Son of a Tech. And how to set it up. Actually, was it yesterday? Yeah. So I'll link this down there too. This was really cool. He walks through the whole thing. It's really short. It takes a long time to actually set it up, only because of the downloading of the blockchain file and all that stuff. But he did a great job in talking about how to set this thing up, referencing some files in there, some scripts that actually help automate the process, which helps immensely. But again, I think on mine it's just not working really well because I think I have a memory problem. I think I only have a 4 gig, and I ordered an 8 gig. So I'm not running the OS. I'm doing it exactly like he was talking about doing. What's funny is I was going to do this before anyway, and long ago I set up a Ravencoin node, and for whatever reason, I took it down. I think it was during the move maybe, and I just never set it back up. So it is what it is. So now I wanted to go ahead and set it up again, and then it's funny that he did a video around the same time. But anyway, so the way a node works is a node is what stores all the previous transactions that are on the network, so that new transactions can be validated. So whenever you're mining, you're connected to the pool, but the pool is connected to a node so that they'll know all the transactions that have occurred in the past. It's that whole cryptography, blockchain, basic tech, right? That's what a node is. And, the miner's not, but whenever you run a node, whenever you are running a node, it's basically a computer on the network, right? On the Ravencoin network. And there is literally zero financial incentive to do so. You are running a node purely altruistically, right? You are doing it because you want to support the network, because you believe in Ravencoin, for example, in this case. I've got a Bitcoin node as well. I have my wallets. The cool thing about nodes is you can set up your own wallets to point to your node that you're running, so that you know that you're not connected to a node, a malicious node, right? If you're connecting to your own node, then you know that it's good, right? Because if you set it up and you're not trying to do anything nefarious to yourself, right? So that's one of the security aspects of it. It's really good to run your own node. For example, if I did have a Ravencoin node up already, or up and running already, I could point my Ravencoin wallet, my QT wallet, to that node, and that's the only node on the network I talk to. That's it. So as I'm transacting with the Ravencoin blockchain, I'm actually using that node, and not like just a random nodes on the network, because that can be dangerous. It's not that bad, but but there could be some really bad stuff to happen if you were to do that. So it's always better to run your own node. There's no financial incentive. You don't get paid anything to do it. It is purely out of generosity and supporting the network. What's cool about Ravencoin, and which really this is a really good look for Ravencoin, in my opinion here, is their node count has gone up so much in the past short amount of time that it is really leading me to believe that some really awesome stuff is coming for Ravencoin. So if I go to live stats over here, look at this pump of number of nodes. That is insane. It went from 300 and, so what's the minimum down here? Let's see, 231. Then it did a huge pump. Now this is not value, guys. This is just number of nodes, okay? Number of nodes on the network. I think that the Bitcoin network has more than 10,000. They aren't even sure how many there are because a lot of them are behind Tor and all that stuff. So there's probably triple that maybe. But there's 10,000 known nodes. And for Ravencoin to go from, looking like 237, they went up to 400 almost. And then they did drop back down here. Went down to 226. Not sure why that happened. Kind of weird. but now it's just steadily increasing, and they're up pretty steady. And they're all the way up to like over 600. So that is freaking awesome. And it's the most of all time, I believe. Yeah, definitely it's the most of all time by a lot. I think the last all-time high was a couple of years ago. It was in the 400s, and now it's in the 600s. So if you want to support the network, support the Ravencoin network, and have yourself a little bit more security because you can connect your wallets to that specific node, then definitely fire up a Ravencoin node, because it does help the network. Because here's what also happens. This is kind of cool about nodes. You know, whenever you're syncing a wallet, especially like a QT wallet or a desktop wallet, whenever you're syncing it, let's say it's with Ravencoin or any cryptocurrency that's out there, you know, like Zelcore or Flux or whatever, any of those, when you're syncing, actually Zelcore works a little bit different, but whenever you're syncing that node, syncing the wallet, whenever you're syncing the wallet, we'll just take a QT wallet like the Ravencoin wallet, and down at the bottom you'll see like syncing with network, you know, and it says, you know, 2 years behind or whatever the number is. Well, what's happening in the background is it's connecting to, I want to say it does 8 by default, and I think you can add more, but it's basically connecting to nodes randomly, more or less randomly. There are a list of nodes that are preferred that have a huge amount of uptime. If you go to RVNNodes.com, you can go to the node list and kind of gather that information and know what node you could add to your wallet to connect to. But what happens is they're already synchronized with the network, so they have 100% of the transactions on the overall network. They have all of them, right? And as long as they're fully synchronized. And then what you're doing is you're downloading those transactions from those, say, 8 nodes. You're downloading little portions of the entire blockchain, the entire history on the blockchain. And it is not, this is what some people get really confused. It has very little to do with your internet speed. Your internet speed, as long as you've got decent connection, it's not going to be the weak link or the what's that word? What's the word? I'm gonna forget. Weak link. What's another word for weak link? So hard to do this live. If I close my eyes for a minute, I'd probably think of it. Anyway, so you guys are gonna throw it in the chat. Anyway, so the internet connectivity is usually not the weakest link. It is normally the fact that you're connecting to different nodes in different parts of the world, and it just takes a long time to download that previous history of the entire Ravencoin blockchain. Now, there are files that's part of the Ravencoin node setup that you can actually download a large portion of the blockchain already into a single file and then extract it. That has a lot of data. I think it's got maybe 2 years worth of data in there, but you still have to sync up to current, right? Because before you can interact with the blockchain, you have to have a synchronized wallet, you have to have a synchronized node. You're not going to do anything on the network if you are still in the past, right? You have to. Bottleneck, that's it. Thanks, Sniper Pro Nerf Mods. Awesome, thanks so much. Yeah, bottleneck. It's not your bottleneck. The bottleneck is just the fact that you are connecting to nodes all over the world and in different parts of the country, and it's got to piece all that together on your one node, you know, whenever you're synchronizing. So that's what takes a while. Like I said, you can download that blockchain dot whatever file. Usually it's tar. You can download that. That'll get you kind of up to date. Oh, thanks, Golden Wolf. Thanks so much, man. Awesome. Thanks so much. So to help speed it up, but you're downloading those little pieces, putting it all together. That's what takes a while. I cannot remember where I was going with that particular story. Synchronizing the node. So it does take a while. You got to wait on it to be done. Forgot what I was going to say. I'll have to rewatch the video to find out why I lost train of thought right there. Anyway, so that's the cool thing about running a Ravencoin node. and I'm going to set mine up eventually. Again, I think that new Pi is coming in Friday, so I'll do that as soon as I can. Should be a good time. I think it'll be neat to show that. I was over here on RVN Nodes. Let me see. So you have, I think maybe I was just talking about the uptime. So if you go to the node list, you can see the reachability uptime over here. So there are a lot of good ones out there that are up 100% of the time. But if you have even if you have a QT wallet can become a node. You know, if you forward the right ports to that computer, or the computer running the QT wallet, if you forward the right ports from your router to your computer, you could actually run a node that way, just firing up the wallet, but you'd have to leave it open in order for that to work, right? The QT wallet. So you can become a node with a QT wallet, and that's why you'll see a lot of these over here have low uptimes. Some of them anyway have really low uptimes, probably because they're just a QT wallet that the person doesn't leave on all the time, right? Potentially. And like a node, a Raspberry Pi node, probably is going to be up all the time, right? Because it takes very little electricity, and once it's up and running, it should be good, and you know, the reachability will be high. So that's what you're doing whenever you're synchronizing the node. It really doesn't have any, I think that's all I was trying to say, is that it really doesn't have to do with your computer speed or your internet speed. None of that stuff really matters. It's just how the thing works. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So as time goes on, as you're synchronizing with the wallet, or I'm sorry, synchronizing with the other nodes, synchronizing your node with the other nodes, as time goes on, it'll go really fast at first. But the closer you get to current, to real time, the slower it'll get. So that last week, or that last half a week, or 3 days, or 1 day will take longer than the previous time. And the reason for that is not as many nodes are going to be synchronized up to that point. Some of them, like you see right here, there's a lot of them that are way behind. They might be behind whenever they're online, and you're attached to them synchronizing, so you're not going to get the most up-to-date information. So as you get closer to current, it's going to slow down even more. Just keep that in mind whenever you're synchronizing a node. That's kind of like the way that works. It goes fast at first and then slows down the closer it gets. Yeah, you can protect it that way with a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply for the node and the router. Another thing that they recommend for Raspberry Pis is to get the Raspberry Pi official power supply, and I have seen this. I have had a problem actually with this particular Pi where the power supply just seemed weird. It's like it doesn't do the power supply that comes with the Cana kits that you can buy on Amazon, that comes with all the different components for a Raspberry Pi. It's kind of like a kit. That power supply isn't great. They actually sell, I don't know if it's like dirty power, I don't know what happens to it, but it seems like it'll cause the device, the Raspberry Pi, to lock up and weird symptoms. So they do recommend an actual Raspberry Pi power supply, and you can find those online, of course. All right, let's see here. So that was cool stuff. That's enough about the RVN nodes. I'm going to be supporting the network. That's my goal. Let's see. I was going to talk about, let's save that for tomorrow. I've been going way long enough. I've been going almost an hour. So tomorrow we're going to talk about Ethermine and how they are going to be supporting using MEV, minor extractable value, or maximal extractable value. If you don't know what that is, I did a video on it. It was not a great video. I left some important information out, but it does explain a lot of the things with minor or maximal extractable value. It's this video right here, and I actually did another one right here. I did two. Here's the other one right here. I did two on minor or maximal extracted value. The things that I left out of that particular video that I should have said, or one of the things, if I can remember it, I wanted to say that. All right, give me a second. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. There was something I wanted to say about MEV. I can't think of it right now for some reason. Yeah, there you go, Sniper Pro. Yeah, it seemed like something crazy going on with the power, and it would cause the Pi to fail in some way. Either it would lock up or shut down, or weird stuff was happening with it. Man, for the life of me, I cannot remember what I was going to say about MEV. Yeah, drawing a blank. Because see, I look at MEV, if you're not familiar with it, basically it is, and this is the way you can describe it, and it is accurate, okay? People don't like the way I describe it, but it is true. MEV is an exploit, is a vulnerability, technically, being exploited on the Ravencoin, on the Ethereum network, to sort transactions in a way to extract value. Meaning, if you are the person or the entity that commits transactions to the blockchain, basically the miner. Okay, now I'm not talking, whenever I say miner, I'm not talking about like home mining, firing up a RX 580 rig. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about running a node, looking at the node, and then figuring out, sorting the transactions based on what you're seeing. Now this has to happen super fast, and it's done through bots and all that stuff, but that's what I'm referring to. And the mining pools are the ones that are effectively the folks that write the transactions to the blockchain. They're the ones that are doing the validation and committing and all that stuff because of the nodes. Okay, so what happens if you watch these videos? I kind of go through it. I really wish I could remember what I was going to say. Basically, you're looking at the mempool, the list of unverified, unvalidated transactions, unconfirmed transactions, and these bots are looking at that, and they are able to front run and back run transactions. If they see a manual transaction, this super quick example, if they see a manual transaction, meaning someone, not another bot, right? And there's ways of identifying actual manually input transactions on the Ethereum network. If they see that and it's a profitable trade or a profitable buy, like let's say they're buying it from one exchange, but then there's an arbitrage opportunity between that exchange and another exchange, decentralized exchanges. You know, the price is one value over here and a different value slightly higher over here. And if they see that, or lower, depending on the way the bot's going to go, if they see that transaction, then these bots can actually put in a transaction to either raise that price up of that transaction underneath it, to raise it up, and then sell it after the fact, either in this block or in the next block, to lock in the profit of that trade. And that's a value that's being extracted from miners, from users in this instance, because it's something that's being exploited at the consensus layer 1 of the Ethereum network. And that's just a fact. Okay, we were supposed to be, in the crypto world, we should not have something like this happen. So it's really crazy that it has gone on this long. Now, it only gained so much attention recently because it was brought up during this whole EIP 1559 debacle, this whole fiasco, where the developers threw it back on the miners, saying that we need to basically shut up about the mining rewards being decreased through 1559 and the base fee being burned and all that stuff. We need to be quiet about that because we still have MEV. And whenever they first told us that, even Bitsby Trippin was like, what are you talking about, MEV? What is that? You know, right? So if that's the case, that's the only reason that this has come to light. I think that it got really big, especially whenever DeFi started kicking in last year, because it presented this huge opportunity to make a ton of money. There's one bot that they showed that started out with $43,000, I believe, to trade on this bot to exploit MEV on the Ethereum network, and that only in a month, I believe it's 1 month's time frame, that now that bot contains, or that bot has pulled out, extracted I think it's $2.9 million. So he went from 40,000 to $2.9 million just running this bot and doing that arbitrage. It's an arbitrage trading bot, just doing that on the Ethereum network. No, I mean, obviously real trades are happening and there's fees and all that stuff that goes into it. But that's crazy if you think about it, you know? That's not using the network the way that it was intended. That's exploiting something that is on that network, and it's dirty. It sounds dirty to me, but long story short, Ethermine, and there are some pools. Flexpool, I think, is another one. You guys mentioned that's going to be using that capability. They are going to be extracting. They're using MEV bots, probably outsourcing, most likely. I don't know if they're going to be running them in-house, how that's going to happen. But they are going to be using that vulnerability, you know, in the Ethereum network to extract more value. And then that value, hopefully, will be passed on to miners to compensate. I believe that's what Ethermine and Flexpool both are saying, in order to compensate for what's going to happen once EIP 1559 goes into effect in July, and the rewards are going to be affected in some way. There's all this speculation with how much, you know, 30%, 40%, 10% decrease from what it is now. I'm an advocate for telling everybody straight up, what we're seeing right now is not sustainable. We are not going to see mining rewards on a 8x RX 580 rig at $30 a day for very long, right? It just is not, that's not sustainable. You know, we all know that this is coming. Now, why throw in 1559? I'm going to get totally off topic. I'm not going to do it. So, all right, I'm going to have to end it right there. My throat's hurting. I've been talking nonstop. You guys aren't even asking questions over here. This was a Ask Me Anything. I've just been talking the whole time. But that's all cool. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Let me talk some crypto, because I don't get to talk crypto during the day. So that orange wall is Bitcoin orange. And the whole room is actually orange. That's why it's orange. Can't really tell in the picture. It doesn't really look Bitcoin orange, but in real life, it definitely does. And this is one of the shirts, by the way, off of DogeLord. Good quality, great quality. I like the way it's printed and everything. It's not cheap, you know. It's really good quality. Yeah, I could probably spin the camera around, or I'll show y'all. I'll do like a tour. There's videos on my channel here for like a tour of this little room here, and yeah, it's definitely an orange room. And I did that wall back there myself with the planks, the wood planks. I know I would like to not have that orange over there, right there. I would like to not have this orange, but it's just the way that where my desk is and how I have my rig set up here. I could zoom it, but then whenever you zoom in, it looks a little different. You know, it's less high quality. So I don't really want to do that, although I could probably play around with it a little bit and get rid of that. It annoys me. So, oh, awesome, Golden Wolf. Yeah, it's not mine. It's DogeLord. I just did the design and stuff. Not really my stuff. But yeah, cool stuff. Maybe I'll zoom. Let me see if I can zoom this in and make it make sense. Yeah, it annoys me too. I mean, I like the color, but it's kind of affects the. Yeah, see, I tried this before. It doesn't zoom far enough to take care of that. I could probably fire up like the Logitech stuff, the Logitech software, and probably get rid of it. Maybe I'll do that. Or I could maybe put some graphic over there too. I don't know, we'll figure something out. Or I could just move my desk or move the camera closer. It's just I like how I have it set up right now, and it is what it is, I guess. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. Man, it is 10:50. I've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. That's too long. Yeah, but let's talk about the MEV and the pools and all that stuff tomorrow. That sounds like a good topic. I've got so many topics I want to do videos on, and I just can't focus on one long enough to get a video out on it. It's kind of crazy. Woo. No, I'm not a Florida fan at all. Pocket Change, I talked about you a little bit earlier. I showed everybody your NFT and all that stuff. If you weren't in here. We also created an NFT for the new shirt, Raven Coin shirt. All right, that is gonna do it. If you thought that this was entertaining, educational, any of that cool stuff, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Did that thing play? It didn't play. How's that not playing? Oh, here we go. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment. Leave me some comments. Let me know what kind of content you would like to see. Whether or not. Yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. What do you think about the whole NFT scenario that I brought up earlier, and all that cool stuff? You guys are awesome. Thanks for letting me talk crypto. I was trying to say that earlier before I got distracted by the chat. I don't get to talk crypto at all. This is it for me during the day for the most part. So I appreciate it. No, Max, you didn't make this shirt because it's Raven Coin. Not that you don't like Raven Coin, but I tried to get it to where there were content creators that did plenty of Raven Coin videos. That's where I kind of started. Although, as I was thinking about it, I might have left off one or two important ones. But oh, thanks, Pocket Change. Thanks so much. Yeah, we're gonna get back to your little scenario here. I've been kind of busy and distracted and all that cool stuff. But yeah. But no, Max, you didn't make this shirt. Sorry. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow night. Stay savage, everybody.